Kia ora, and welcome to today's episode of Light Lunch. Today I am joined by Roydon and James, and I'll let them introduce themselves quickly. Roydon.
Kia ora. My name's Roydon Shaw. I'm the recruitment manager of Rāranga Building Careers. We have been trading now for 3 years, and our ambition is to improve outcomes for rangitahi in construction and create meaningful careers and career training pathways in the construction and surrounding industries.
Wonderful. And James, where do you fit in?
Yeah, kia ora everyone as well. So my name's James. I'm a business manager for Rāranga. I think Roydon's a bit humble when he introduced himself there. So Roydon's actually the founding father. So he's put in a lot of the hard work. I've joined about a year ago, and I work in kind of community engagement and how we can kind of grow through project work, that kind of stuff.
Cool. And all right, could you tell me, Roydon, about something that you're currently excited about at work? Could be a project to launch, could be something simple, could be something big going on.
Yeah, so at the moment we've got a partnership with MSD, and we're running a program called Awe Hapai. We're halfway through, so we've brought on 15 kaimahi or workers off the benefit and have supplied them work opportunities and bespoke training packages to help improve their long-term employability. So all 15 work for us at the moment and are in varying states of transition between working for us and moving over to the host client. So the exciting thing about this program that we're working on is that we've got another 15 approved spots to work through over the next sort of 6 to 8 months. And what it entails is that people come and work for us. We get people off one of the main benefits there, and we're able to put them into employment, and we've got some training funds associated for each person, so about $3,000 to $3,500 worth of training that we can use to lower the burden of employment for employees. So the idea is that we can absorb a lot of the sometimes there's a perceived risk about training new people, especially in a tight market, or bringing new people into the business because of training costs and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So our program is there to help mitigate that risk and ensure that people get a really good start and have a great base foundation and can take those skills anywhere. So that those sort of that funding can be put towards tools or formal training, like things like elevated work platform, heights and harnesses, wheel straps, rollers, things like that will help obviously soften the blow of taking on a new person to a company, and also to ensure that they've got the opportunity to have a long and fruitful career in construction.
Wonderful. Sounds like you're doing some great stuff.
Yeah. It's a bit of work, but it's really, really rewarding. So
yes, I can imagine it would be very rewarding. And James, do you help along with that, or is there something else that's pretty awesome in your little patch?
Yeah, absolutely. So work a bit on the Awe Hapai program as well. But one of the things that I'm working on at the moment, that's actually coming up tomorrow, is a trades leadership course. So we've run a version of this before already with the Lower Hutt Job Skills Hub. But effectively what it is we're trying to take rangitahi, usually they're kind of between the age of 17 and probably mid to late 20s. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to give them leadership skills, because what we found was a lot of people are kind of getting stuck at entry-level roles in trades. And that's fine when you're young and you're fit and you're strong and you're able, but then when they're starting to get older, you don't want to be the person carrying the jib up 8 flights of stairs at 50. So it's trying to kind of get people exposure to leadership, what kind of things they might encounter. Covers things like time management, conflict resolution, interview skills, coaching others, diversity, equity, and inclusion. And so last group we had 14 come through. We've got another 12 going through tomorrow. So just getting ready to facilitate that. We've got some cool guest speakers coming in that are pretty successful people in trades already, and just to kind of share their knowledge and engage through that. So that's what I'm working on at the moment.
That's really cool. Yeah, I like that. Cool. So, Roydon, can you share about maybe a lesson you've learned at work? Could be personal advice, could be a process, could be something making your life easier. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's obviously been a lot of lessons learned in my time in trades recruitment, but I'd say the big one is don't be afraid to jump into the deep end and like bite
I
off
think
as
you've
much
done
as you can
that.
chew. Yeah. Because I think like you really find out how good you can be if you're thrown in the deep end. And I think obviously starting Rāranga has been a bit of a massive lesson. Like I think that in a lot of people's jobs and stuff, you can get really hyper focused on doing one section of the job, and that might that can be obviously you can become an expert in that sort of stuff. But the opportunity that we've got to start Rāranga has allowed us to look at the benefits of sort of the labour hire industry and some of the shortfallings, and we've been able to boil down what we think is a really good system that allows people to get a lot of takeaways from a what is a really really useful model for both workers and for clients. So over our time over the 3 years we've been trading, we're pretty proud to have placed 42 people into permanent positions in 3 years. So that's I think it's 39 months and 42 permanent transitions. So that's pretty impressive. And I don't think we'd be able to do that if we didn't sort of bite off as much as we could chew right at the beginning.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. Great lesson. What about you, James?
So for me, I think it's learning or how to not take feedback too personally. So I came from ANZ, which is a really big company where people are really specialised in everything they do, into the office in Rāranga where there's about 5 of us in the office and we've got obviously heaps of staff working out on sites. What that meant working in a smaller internal company is there's a lot more diversity in what you're doing from day to day. So I'm doing things that I haven't done as regularly or I'm not as familiar with. And in the line of work I'm doing where you're kind of designing and delivering projects, you get quite attached to your piece of work. So when you create something that's kind of your baby and you're really passionate about it and you've thought up this idea, you're really cool, excited to deliver it, and then you kind of get it reviewed for feedback, and then people who have done it before or experts in that area will go, hey, I'd change this, move that, change that, and then you kind of feel initially like, oh, stink, I thought I did a really awesome job with it, but then when you realize they're not actually, it's not that your work wasn't good enough, it's just that they've got experience in this way and they've seen how things work and what's worked for them and what hasn't worked for them. So I think just not taking feedback personally, just being open to what other people are telling you and taking that on board and combining the two, so combining their way with your way to create something even stronger. That comes back to the weave of Rāranga. So yeah.
Nice. All right, now what about some stuff that you do for your mental health and well-being? Could be inside work, outside work. About you, Roydon? You're a runner or a gym guy?
Well, might not tell to look at me that I don't run very much often now, unless I'm getting chased. And as I get older, that's less and less. But I think the most important thing for me is to find something that's unrelated to work and fully immersive. Like I'm a bit of an overthinker, and sometimes have trouble switching off at night and things like that. So for me, like I'm really into. Oh, obviously, my son's 3 years old now, so he takes up a lot of my time and most of my attention, to be fair, outside of work. But other than that, like fishing and diving or getting out into the bush and things like that is really amazing to sort of keep your phone away and sort of clock off, and then obviously if you're fishing and diving, hopefully you get to fill the fridge and things like that as well. But yeah, for me, it's just making sure that you get a time away from your phone and time away from your phone and time away from the sort of coal face, and that you can really, really immerse yourself into something that gives you a little bit of reprieve from everything you've got to deal with.
Absolutely. I think we could all do with a little bit more time away from our phones, right? What about you, James?
Yeah, so for me, I'd say sports. Sports is probably the big one. So dealing a lot with, similar to Roydon, got quite an active brain. So trying to keep myself busy all the time when I'm not in work, so that I'm not overthinking things. So whether that's playing rugby or golf or basketball, just trying to be constantly kind of doing things. And there's obviously a bonus when you're doing physical things because you get the endorphins released, and then it helps me sleep well at night, similar to like Roydon said, can start to overthink a bit late at night when you're up there. So I find if I kind of exhaust myself with activities through the day, I'm so tired come the end of the day, shut your eyes, head hits the pillow, and you're out for the count. So yeah, other than that, spending time with family, friends, and
You're guessing you don't have a 3-year-old to exhaust you at the end of the day.
No, not yet. I try to exhaust myself at the moment, but
yeah. 3-year-olds are very, very good for exhausting you. I can vouch for that. All right, Roydon, what about telling us about a person who might have been influential to you in your personal life or career, both?
Yeah, I'll definitely probably say my mum, I think, to work in the industry. We work pretty tirelessly in the industry. We were supporting a lot of other people, and I think got the drive and the passion for that from my mum. She's spent 20 years in the corrections service there and passed away suddenly last year. So I don't think that I'd have my passion for helping people without her. So I'm pretty stoked to be doing the mahi I'm doing,
That's really nice, and I'm sure she'll be really proud of what you're doing as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And James, what about you?
hard one to follow there, mate. Mine would be my dad. So he came from not an amazingly well-off family. And he was asked to kind of drop out at 16, but he stayed in school because he wanted to play basketball. And then he went through uni playing basketball as well. And then got a pretty cool job and was able to provide for us and give us pretty cool opportunities growing up. But he just had this work ethic that I would strive to have. He just turned 70 last year. He's retired from corporate life, but he took on a job at Bunnings that was supposed to be 20 hours a week, and now he's working 40 hours a week full time at 70 at Bunnings. And he just loves kind of being busy and having a purpose, and he just has a work ethic that I'd strive to have and to be like.
Yeah, that's really cool. Awesome. Well, thank you both. And yeah, I will put a link to you guys on here so people can check you out and follow you on LinkedIn or any of that kind of stuff. But yeah, thank you very much.
Thanks for your time, mate.